In this video, I'll break down how to create this really cool Locked-On Stabilization Effect in Apple Motion 5. Now, unfortunately, there really isn't a great way of doing this in Final Cut. There are some plugins and there are some like little hacks and little different ways of doing it. But in this video, I just want to show you the best method to do this, which is just using Apple Motion 5. There are hacks, there are plugins, but in my opinion, I think it's just much better to use Apple Motion 5 because it's just a lot easier and it's just going to look a lot better. Once you have Apple Motion open, all you're going to do is you're going to select Motion Project, and then you're going to head over here to your preset, your frame rate and duration. Now what you want to do is you want to match the resolution and the frame rate with the resolution and frame rate of your clip or the resolution and frame rate of your project. So in this case, I'm going to use Broadcast HD. So 1080, you can also use 720, which I don't know why you'd ever use 720, or you can do 4K Ultra HD. In this case, I'm going to do Broadcast HD, which is just 1080, and then my clip is 24 frames per second. So I'm going to click 24 frames, and in this case, I'm going to leave it at 10 seconds. I would encourage you to leave it like 5 or 6 or 7, 10 seconds, even though the clip is not 10 seconds. I'll show you why. It's just going to be a lot easier to kind of move the clip around. So I'm going to leave it at 10 seconds, 1080, HD, 1080, 24 frames per second, then 10 seconds. Again, you want these to match the resolution and frame rate of your actual clip. And all we're going to do is going to select on, or just click on open, and then you're going to open up Apple Motion. Now I know this might look a little daunting and a little complicated, but I'll try to make this as simple as I possibly can. All we're going to do is just going to click on Command I, just like you would in Final Cut, and then you're basically just going to open up, your desktop, your download. All you're going to do is just going to locate where you have your clip saved. So I'm going to select on this clip and then just click on Import. So we're just going to import this clip into Apple Motion. Now what you want to do is you want to select on the clip and head over to the inspector, and you may have to scale it up a little bit. So we have the properties, and we're just going to take the scale, and we're just going to increase the scale a little bit. Now what you're going to do is you're going to have to go through and trim your clip. So let's go ahead and play until we get to the point where we want it to happen, or the point in the clip. So you can see we're going to go frame by frame until we find it. So this is where we want it to happen. So it's going to go frame by frame. So we want it to start here. All we're going to do is going to hold down Command, which is going to bring up the trim tool, and we're just going to trim the clip. Now you want to drag the clip and make sure it snaps into place right there, and then as you could do, you're just going to go frame by frame until you find the end. So we're just going to go frame by frame until we find where we want to end. So we want to end right here. Hold down the command key, and then as you can see, now you can just trim the clip, and then there we go. So now this is the section of the clip that we want to use. So let's play the video, and then as you can see this is the clip that we're going to want to use for the stabilization effect. So just by holding down Command, you can trim the clip and just find the clip. Only have the place where you actually want to stabilize it, basically showing up in your timeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this clip, and I'm going to head over here to Add Object. I'm going to click this little down arrow. I'm going to select on camera. So you want to add a camera, and then we have to switch this to, or you could keep it as 2D, but I'm just going to switch it to 3D. But you might want to just keep it to 2D. It's not really going to matter because we're not really actually moving the camera like in kind of like having depth. So that's really not going to make that much of a difference. So what we're going to do is select the camera, then head over here to Properties. And what you want to do is you want to go to Position, bring down this drop down arrow next to Position, make sure you're selected on camera, go to Add Parameter Behavior, and you're going to select on Track. You want to make sure on the Position, Add Parameter Behavior, and then select Track. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your clip and you're going to drag it into this little drop box over here, and then this is basically how we're going to actually track the clip. So what you want to do is you want to select on the tracker, and you just want to find a place in the clip that you want to track. For example, we're going to do his nose, and we're just going to decrease the tracker a little bit. Do the best as kind of really, you really want to make the tracker really good, because you don't want Apple Motion to get confused as to what you're trying to track. So we're trying to track his nose, and then all you're going to do is you're going to select Analyze, and now it's going to track that nose. Now all the other settings here, I'm just going to keep at default. You could try to mess with them if it just looks a little bit weird or doesn't really give you the look that you want. So let's go ahead and play, and then as you can see now it's tracked onto his nose. Very simple. Literally took like, I don't know what, 15 seconds. Really quick, really easy. You don't have to do any kind of hack or install any kind of plugin. You can just do this all natively in Apple Motion. Now you may see if I scroll through the clip, you see a little bit of this black background. That's very easy to fix. Just select on your clip, and then we're just going to increase the scale of the clip to make sure it fits the entire screen. So let's go ahead and play, and then as you can see there we go. It's tracking onto his nose. Now we only want to export this section of the clip, so you can easily head over to this little icon, and you're just going to scrub it over and basically make sure it's only covering the part of the clip. So you can see, because we just want to export that section. Now you can go back and play and make sure it's playing that section. So you can see, there we go. So we just use that little, I don't know what you call it, trim tool, whatever, and we only want to export this section. So as you can see, there we go. See, it's tracked onto his nose. Now once you have your project completely tracked, as you can see it's completely tracked, you just want to export the actual project. So just click on Command E to export the project, and then we're just going to title this whatever we want. In this case we'll just name it example, and then head over here to settings. I'm going to leave it as video and audio only, or video and audio. Obviously this depends on what you want to do. Now for video codec I would use Apple ProRes 422 or Apple ProRes 444. Because we're putting this back into Final Cut, you want to use a ProRes file. If you're just putting this directly to social media and you're not putting this back into Final Cut, use H.264, but if you're putting it back into Final Cut, use a ProRes file. In most cases Apple ProRes 422 should be fine. And then as you can see, color space, we are just going to do Rec 709 because in most cases that should be good enough. And as you can see, color channels, we'll just leave it on color and alpha. This really doesn't make that much of a difference, obviously depending on if you're using an alpha channel, but in this case we're not. And then as you can see, use play ranges. This will use play range. This is like we don't want to export all 10 seconds. We only want to export that certain range where the subject is being tracked. Now we're going to head over here to render, and I'm just going to select on highest quality. I'm going to leave it at best. All this stuff should be good at default. I'm just going to deselect motion blur. Of course, you can mess with this if you want a certain look. I think motion blur, leaving it on, looks a little bit weird. So I'm just going to deselect motion blur, and then we're just going to click next, and then the project is going to be exporting. You'll see this little like loading, this little loading sign over here. Now I guess I already named this example, so we'll just name this example, example 2, and then we'll just click on save. And as you can see, you see this little loading sign. This means the project is being exported. So let's play the video, and then as you can see, there we go. That's perfect. This completely tracked onto his nose. This just looks really cool. As you can see, everything looks fine. It worked perfectly fine. Now once you export it from Apple Motion, you can just import it directly into Final Cut. So just click on Command I, and then obviously locate where you have it saved. So you can see example 2, select it, and then just click on import selected, and now it's into Final Cut. So you can see 1080. So you see up here, you'll see that just make sure the frame rate's right. So 1080 HD, 24 frames per second. Let's head over here. We're just going to import the clip, and let's just see if it all looks good. So you can see the audio is saved with it too. So wait for Final Cut to render, and let's see if everything looks good. Let's play the video and let's see how it looks. And then as you can see, there we go. See, it is perfectly tracked onto the subject, and that just looks really good. So you can see, here's the before shot. As you can see, nothing is happening. You see that the camera is just stagnant. So you see the camera does not move with him. This is like the before shot. The camera is just basically on a tripod. It doesn't move. So obviously it looks cool, but if you add this really cool locked-on effect, it just makes the clip look so much more dynamic. And there you go. As you can see, now it looks like the camera is being tracked on the subject, when in reality the camera is just on a tripod. So it's a really cool effect to make your video look a lot more dynamic and just give the video a lot more energy. This probably isn't like the best example, but I just want to show you just a basic example, just basically how to create this really cool effect. I really like it. I'm going to use this on a whole bunch of my own videos, and hopefully you like this. Hopefully everything made sense. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it helpful and informative. If you're new to this channel, I upload Final Cut Pro 10 and Apple Motion 5 tutorials every week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you enjoy these types of videos, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. Also be sure to check out my Final Cut Pro 10 playlist, where there's over 300 tutorials to learn from. Lastly, make sure to check out my website, where I'll sell Final Cut Pro 10 plugins. Anyways, I will see you in the next one. Peace.